he's trying to put you in before himself, and he's become a friend.
Yeah, well, we've had this as a dream for a while to get a house here in Colorado Springs near our daughter and her family, and we've looked a few times, and we're kind of tied to where we are, but we decided, you know what, now's a good time to buy, and so let's go see if we can make it happen.
Came highly recommended by our daughter and her husband. They highly recommended Leif. They said he's very professional, very personable, and recommendations go a long way with us.
And he also helped them successfully buy a property in Florida, which has been a really good thing for them. So, one of the things I appreciate about Leif was that he was very patient with us, because we didn't really know what we wanted when we started out. And so we started out, well, we want a house in this area, and then until we didn't want a house in that area. And then, we want this size house, until, oops, we wanted a slightly bigger house. And Leif never questioned us. He never pressured us. Whatever we wanted was always the marching orders he went by. And it took a while because we weren't resident here, and so we had trips where we came and we looked at a lot of places, and really appreciate his patience through the whole process. That was a big deal to me.
And Leif also, at times when we thought there might be something that we were super interested in, he offered to do video tours for us, long distance, which was very, very helpful. It's surprising how much that helped. And he always listened and put up with our quirks, the idiosyncrasies of how we wanted to do this in a respectful way, and he was all on board with all that. And so we really appreciated that. Never felt pressured, and always about what our needs were, and he tried to make himself very available and communicated extremely well.
Yeah, that's a good point. We had a very limited schedule, and of course Leif has a lot of appointments and things besides us, but somehow he managed to find time when we were in town to spend a lot of time with us looking at different places. So appreciate that.
Yes, extremely attentive to our needing to be here. One of our preferences was to see a house in person, not just do a virtual tour. So Leif always adjusted the MLS information to us according to what we wanted, and we could pick and choose and say, hey, what about this, what about that? And he could tell us about the area or the house, and he was always willing to find more information about that. So it really helped us being far away, and then as we wanted to be in person to buy the house, he was very available to help with that and know how to seal the deal well.
Yeah, and Leif helped us even when we weren't in town, because before we actually came here to have another round of looking at houses, we had a list of houses, and we narrowed it down. Our daughter drove by some, narrowed the list, and then she and Leif actually went and did some video in some of the houses before we even showed up, so we knew whether we wanted to look at those houses and were serious about them or not. That was very helpful. Well, I think for me, Leif really helped with our confidence in the whole process, because we hadn't bought a house for more than a decade. Things have changed. Leif helped us understand the process, and made us feel a lot more confident as we went forward, actually making an offer and understanding, what that meant and what the deadlines were and those sorts of things.
Yeah, and he was very wise at how to present an offer where it might be accepted the first time as well, and what contingencies might or might not be, and just a lot of understanding of where the sellers are coming from as best he could, and dealing with their broker and helping us to come up with a fair price offer. So those negotiations went extremely well, and turned out great. It turned out great.
Yeah, we're very happy with the property we bought, and we feel like we got it for a very reasonable price, and we're delighted.
I'd highly recommend him.
Very helpful. We did work with a lender he recommended. We decided not to go with the lender in the end, but I would add that, you know, before the actual purchase, Leif made some recommendations, and also since the purchase, Leif has made recommendations on people who can do work for us and things that we need to do around the house. So, and they've all been very helpful.
Yes, good resources and starting points to figure things out, and very, very helpful, especially when you're coming from out of state and you know nothing. So he was very informative and guiding us through a lot of that process, not only through the closing and financing, but also cleaning and carpets.
I thought it was essential because we don't know the area at all, and we don't know what we're getting into, and you know, so yeah, it was very helpful to understand those things as we looked at properties and consider those, whether or not we wanted to make an offer or not. And I would say Leif also helped us understand the different builders that work in the area, and that was very helpful. In fact, that may have swung us on one of the decisions we made about a particular property. Believe it or not, he may have talked us out of it, which was a great thing. It turned out to be a great thing, and we're really thankful that he was willing to do that.
Yeah, he was definitely looking out for our best interests, not only immediately, but long-term, in getting something that was going to be suitable to our needs. Leif was very proactive with communicating. Since we were out of town and not up here very often, if a month went by, he would text and just say, hey, just checking in, see how things are going. Never feeling pressured, but he was very proactive in figuring out where we were and just offering his availability whenever we were ready. So that was very encouraging and very helpful. And at times I felt maybe a little pressure, but he was really good about listening and then moving forward, and he never intended that at all. It was my stuff. But Leif was really good at just working through some of that, because for us it's a big decision. We haven't had a second home for eons. Yeah. So it was very helpful.
One thing I appreciated about, particularly with regard to communication from Leif, was after we made the offer. Of course, when we made the offer, there was 6 pages of legalese, and didn't understand all of it. Leif prompted us, and this is coming up, and this is, have you thought about this? And I really appreciated that, because I didn't have all those deadlines and things in mind, and we could have missed something. So that was very helpful.
Great. He was very knowledgeable about how the closing process went, gave us a great lender to work with, and so he prompted us of, hey, these are deadlines that you need to decide, like homeowners insurance and what have you. And so so the communication was very good to have a seamless closing.
Yeah, I was particularly pleased with the title company we work with that Leif recommended. I mean, we didn't know any of them when we, who to pick, but Leif recommended this title company, and they were extremely helpful, especially in closing on a property where our trust was from a different state, and how all that paperwork goes, what we had to do, and what we need to consider, and very, very helpful.
So we really appreciate his help very much.
Honestly, I'm a bit shocked at how Leif has stuck with us afterwards. I mean, we had a little issue, we texted Leif, hey, could you recommend somebody who might be able to do this type of repair? Boom, got a quick recommendation, and very helpful. So yeah, I don't feel like Leif has gone away, even though all the paperwork is done, and I'm pretty sure he's got his commission at this point, but he's still helping us, and we really appreciate it.
He's very prompt when we ask a question and responding to. Mm-hmm. So very appreciative. You don't have to usually wait till the end of the day or even hours. It's usually within a few minutes. So very helpful, very helpful.
I wouldn't hesitate for a second. He'd be the first one on top of my list, and I'd do it cheerfully and confidently.
I would highly recommend him as well. Personality, professionalism, caring to the needs of the client, all of it. It goes way beyond what your normal person would care for, and listens very well. So those traits are hard to come by.